We're taking a look at the two big races on the international calendar here in Singapore. We've already had the KrisFly International Sprint, and now we take a look at the Singapore Airlines International Cup, and a great lineup it is. We have last year's winner Military Attack back, and also Dan Excel, who ran second to him last year, also going around in the $3 million International Group 1. Right the way through the field, a great lineup. We've got 8 international horses and also 4 from the local brigade, trying to be the first horse since Uzo as a local galloper to claim the Singapore Airlines International Cup. So a field of 12 to go. Good lineup here, Matt. 2,000 metres on the turf. We're racing on the short course A. Great lineup. Great to have the horses from Hong Kong back, who went so well last year, 12 months ago.
That's right, and Mother Kalok was in the race last year, and it's back again. But Dan Excel and the winner Military Attack from last year, they ran 1-2, both trained by John Moore, and they're back to try and go 1-2 again. And this time Military Attack's got Joe Maria in the saddle, so he's going to have huge support. He should be favoured. He's drawn a little bit wide, but when you look at his form the last few starts, you've got to disregard the run in Dubai, I think. But his performance last time behind Designs on Rome shows that he's right on track, and his track work during the week I think has been very good as well. So Military Attack I think will go very close to winning again. His
form's been exceptional, Edward. If you take out the Dubai run, was it just the Tapeta, the all-weather, that was his undoing?
It didn't seem to have a heap of room in the straight, didn't seem to like the Tapeta, and he was one of the favourites, if not the favourite, going into that race, the world's richest race. So his form has been well regarded by people, racing people all around the world. Ignore that run, his form before then was great, his form after then, the Designs on Rome run, has been great. So expect him to give this year's Cup a real shake again.
Military Attack won last year, Dan Excel ran second. They're both trained by John Moore.
John Moore, you got last year's winner Military Attack defending his title. He's come up with a slightly wide gate here.
Yes, yeah, what was it, gate 10. Well, I'm just hoping that the Japanese horse did what he did at a few of his races, that he goes out and sets up a serious pace in front with one or two others that probably might go with him. From that point of view, I don't see any problem with Military Attack getting across and getting some cover. Judging from what I've heard from the press here, and as I said, the speed that should be on, I don't see any problems. And we're going back to the Joe Moreira factor again. You know, you couldn't have a better rider on that knows Cranchi like his own backyard. For that point of view, and considering and what I saw this morning, considering that Military Attack's travelled so well, he won it last year in ease, and you've got to say he's got to be peaking again right now. I still think he's the one to beat, even though he's got a little bit of a challenge from gate 10.
Your horses, and I speak of Dan Excel as well, they seem quite fresh on the training track each and every morning.
Yeah, I saw him up this morning kicking his brand off and everything, and I said to Tommy on the phone this morning, thank God you're probably not coming down, because he's quite an awkward ride. He's going round, his tail's going around, and he's just enjoying himself. That's all he was. He's not really a tail twitcher or whatever. He was just kicking his brand off because he's just starting to feel good. And from that point of view, and drawing gate 1, and the speed's going to be on, so he's going to have the gun run just in behind. So if a lot of horses don't bring their A game on Sunday, I tell you what, he'll be right there.
Yeah, you see, from gate number 1, and barring bad luck, it's very hard to see him finishing out of the first 4.
I agree with you. I said to the press earlier on that he's probably the best. If you can get each way about him, I think he's each way all day. And if there's one horse that's probably, I reckon, is going to be in front at the 300, I reckon it'll be Dan Excel.
Interesting comments there from John Moore, Edward, about his track work, Dan Excel. The general consensus from most people down, watching the track work during the week, that he was in a cantankerous sort of a mood, but he thinks he's just happy and healthy.
It's good that he's happy, Craig. Happy horses generally seem to run well. His form has been great, and it's good to, I guess, we look at these sort of horses, and I mean, you guys have seen him before last year. I haven't, so it's good to hear from someone that knows the horse and who is with him all the time, rather than us who only sees him, last couple of years for 1 week.
Well, you'd prefer the horses to be that way than lethargic, wouldn't you? I mean, there's an abundance of energy coming out of those Hong Kong horses, I think, from what I've seen at the track.
He actually spun around and got rid of the rider on Wednesday morning. He didn't want to go forward, so I'm not sure whether that's happy or cantankerous or what, but John Moore's happy, and if he's happy, everyone else should be pretty excited as well. Pascal Barry was happy a few years ago when he claimed the Singapore Airlines International Cup, and he's back here with Smoking Sun this year.
Trainer Pascal Barry with Smoking Sun here in Singapore. What's your reaction to the barrier draw of gate number 11?
or get number 11 is not the best, but the best horse in the race, Military Attack, get number 10. So we can be near the best horse in the race, and we will see.
He's a good stayer with a good record over 2,000 metres, this horse. Where do you see him sitting in the run from that barrier?
Well, he's a nice horse. He has two very nice races this year, 2 nice races last year. He loves to run 1 mile and a quarter. He loves good going. So I think he should do well.
Do you think from that barrier that he can position himself maybe in a midfield position?
Midfield will be all right, but maybe we'll be a bit far behind at the beginning. Horse is nice. He's here for 1 week now, and he's eating well. He's training well, so I think he should run very well.
So there's Smoking Sun winning 2 starts ago, Group 2, and then he's running the Prix Gannet behind Cirrus des Aigles and Trevor, when he ran 4th, was exceptional as well.
Yeah, he's still sort of going in the right direction, isn't he? There's a few of these that have been around for a while, but he's a really nice horse coming through that particularly strong race there, the Prix Gannet, and he's winning the Prix d'Harcourt. Oozed of class. He was going to run the trip out strongly. Listening to Pascal Barry there, it looks as though he'd probably drift off the pace worse than centre field. He'll be strong at the end though. Yes,
I think he will be. We'll move on and have a look at Side Glance. I think he's got a great chance here. Andrew Balding, the trainer, he's not yet in Singapore. His groom, Leanne Masterson, was happy to have a chat at the barrier draw on Thursday morning.
Leanne Masterton here with Side Glance in Singapore. How's he settled into the tropics?
Really well, actually. He's eating and drinking well. He flew over well. Pleased with him.
Talk us through his track work this week.
He's just been going steady, just on the sort of the 6 furlong gallop around the outside of the track, on the poly track, and then today I just gave him a little spin on the turf, just let him stretch his legs down the straight.
He's a seasoned traveller. We saw him over there in Melbourne win the McKinnon Stakes when he went forward, led all the way. Not probably able to lead this field with a good pace in it.
No, it's like, we'd probably prefer to go forward, but if he can sort of sit in 3rd or 4th, we'd be happy enough. And from drawn 7, he's got options. So looks like there's going to be a bit of pace, and happy enough.
It was a very good winner, the McKinnon. He was actually very keen early on, and he virtually pulled himself to the lead in this race, didn't he, Edward?
Yeah, there wasn't a heap of speed on there, Craig, so I sort of thought that at the 1200 metre mark, Jamie Spencer just decided to bite the bullet, go forward rather than fight the horse. I don't think that form is his best form. I think he beat some B graders in that race, but his run to Dubai flattered him more, and his track work this week was quite good.
He's a very good horse. Jamie Spencer's going to take the ride on Side Glance. He's drawn reasonable. It's just a matter of what sort of run. We saw him in the World Cup. He ran a very creditable race, 4th there, but he covered a lot of ground as well in the World Cup.
So gate number 7, look, he's going to probably sit back centre field on that. I think there's a touch of class about him, and I know the McKinnon Stakes probably didn't have the biggest rap, but still, McKinnon Stakes is a McKinnon Stakes, and look, he's a horse that's well travelled. He looks to have settled in well, and he does appear to be going well on the track.
Well, if you want to find a horse that's well travelled, Mullah-Kalok, he's been everywhere, the US, Dubai, Australia. He was here last year. He ran a cracking race last year too, didn't he?
He did, and it's good to have him back. We remember a couple of years ago, remember Chin Chon? He ran a blinding race. I'm not saying this horse is going to come out and do what Chin Chon did, but he did have probably an equally tough run, Mullah-Kalok, and he's since then done a heap of travel and ran a terrific race over in Australia in the Emirates Stakes, wasn't it?
Yes, he's a nice horse, and he's got the advantage of having a very, very good rider on his back that rides these sort of tracks very well, Damien Oliver. So I think he's going to run a decent race, but let's hear from his trainer, Jane Chappell-Hyam.
Jane Chappell-Hyam with Mullah-Kalok. Welcome back, and a good barrier draw as well.
Yeah, a lot better from 8 last year, so we're happy to be in the 3.
Saw him when Damien rode him in Australia sitting forward. Is that a likely scenario from the barrier draw?
I think these horses have got more speed, to be fair, out the gate. So from gate 3, in an ideal world, I'd like to box seat, but probably half the field want a box seat, so it's left to Damien.
And his form this year looks as good as ever. He won his race at Newmarket again, the Earl of Sefton.
Yeah, no, that was a good run. And he, in all fairness, he took it up 3 furlongs out and, finished strong. So it was good to see.
He's an experienced traveller?
Yeah, no, he's used to it now. Chicago, Melbourne and back here and Dubai. So, yeah, he travels well. He lost 5 on the trip here, but he's put 6 back on. So that's very pleasing.
This race was over 1,800 metres, but he was very strong, and Newmarket's an uphill track virtually, so he was very good at the end of this race.
And he's had a terrific record at this track, Newmarket, the whole way through his career. So, look, he almost owns his races there. Here he is in his track work, Edward. How's he coming along? He's quite heavily bandaged there, I can see.
He's more or less done the same sort of work the last few days, just he's gone around one direction on the backtrack, track 7, and then come back, canted up, done it all again. So that's what he's done this week. But that Newmarket run wasn't that long ago, so he's brought his fitness really from there.
I think it's a massive plus to Damien Oliver. Nothing against the European riders, but those races, Newmarket, they're virtually straight races, but around these tight turning tracks, to have someone of Oliver's experience is a massive plus.
And also that Oliver's ridden a horse before is another plus. So he's a good chance. He showed that he likes the track here at Kranji, and he's shown what he can do on tracks that he likes with Newmarket. That that record that he just keeps winning at the same track.
Representing the UAE this year is a horse by the name of Lamario, trained by Doug Watson.
Trader Doug Watson here with Lamario. Well, you drew the outside gate. What are you going to do from there?
We're a horse that runs from the forward anyway, so we'll jump and try to get up and over and save as much ground into the first turn as we can.
I had a look at his replay of the German Derby. He was up right on the pace in that race, so he'll come across with horses like Tokay Halo, I suppose.
Yeah. I would hope to be sitting in the second tier, just in behind that speed, because it looks like some very decent speed that's going to be up front. A couple horses that really go, and ideally we were thinking, if we draw in the middle, that you'd just be able to let them relax and get in there in behind, but. From the 12 hole, you're probably going to have to use a little bit to get up and over, and ideally, if you can be 2 or 3 wide around that first turn and save a little bit of ground, that might help us a little bit.
And you were here last year with Mondra and Duck Scholar. What did you take out of that trip, and what have you been able to the knowledge you gained from that to help Lamario?
Well, we're bringing Pat Dobbs over, who's ridden the horse a couple times now. Last year with Meandre, it was the first ride for the jockey that rode him, and he didn't know him as well as Pat knows Lamario. Pat has a lot of confidence in Lamario. His runs in Dubai, we were always under pressure to get to the races a little bit. We got him in December and had a few setbacks that kept us from kind of going forward and getting in earlier in the carnival, but he ran a blinder for the fitness level he was at in the Mokhtoum Challenge, and then we were left with one race, which was the mile, which was a bit too short for him, and he ran another great race he drew wide there too, 16 of 16, I believe. So he's used to those outside draws, but it's not ideal. But I have a lot of confidence in Pat to ride a race on him that gives him his best opportunity.
There's Doug Watson with Lamario, and speaking with Doug during the week, and he emphasised it there a few times. He's got faith in his rider this year because he was devastated the way his horses were ridden last year.
Yeah, so he brings back regular rider here, Pat Dobbs. He's only had the runner for 2 starts, Doug Watson. It was a nice horse, and we saw that replay from Germany. He ran in some really good races over there in Germany and was purchased over in, I think it was in Paris, and then he's across to Dubai now, and he's just the right horse, I think, to bring across to Singapore. And what he's done during the week, his track work has all been very impressive.
Yeah, I really liked the track work that we saw. I think it was Wednesday morning, Matt. His work looked quite good. Pat Cummings, a media counterpart of ours, gave him a big rap, and just listening to when you, Craig, interviewed his trainer, Doug Watson, he was saying that the Godolphin Mile was too short from him, 1,600 metres, and he wanted a turf race for him because obviously his racing in Europe was on turf, and over 2,000 metres. He gets that opportunity here.
It's fairly straightforward for him as well. He's drawn wide. He just has to go forward. He's got the Japanese horse who hopefully goes forward, because I think everyone's plans are sort of around this Japanese horse going forward, and Lamario's going to come across with him and sit sort of maybe 2nd, 3rd, 4th, something like that, I think.
Yeah, Doug did say he never had him right. He just couldn't get him right in Dubai. It was always a rush, or he hadn't quite worked him out, and he's very confident going into this. So barriers obviously against, and he was confident before the barriers came out, but I'd expect him to go okay. So. Yeah.
Not a bad place to be up on the pace here in Singapore.
Definitely. And if they do string out, all of a sudden that wide barrier draw, you run off the fence, hopefully. Sea Sage is the American horse, first American horse for 9 years to be back here in Singapore to race Daryl Vienna. And by great fortune, Davy Flores rides him, and he's ridden him before.
Yeah, he rode him at Santa Anita on Boxing Day. He finished 2nd, but he copped a bad bump on that day. He arguably should have run This is a subsequent replay from that, Craig.
Yeah, he got a nice run in this, but yeah, on Boxing Day he was shunted very wide, and this was a good effort, really keen finish at the end of the 2,000 metres at Santa Anita, and he could have quite easily won this race. He looks a nice, honest sort of a horse.
Now, apparently the horse that went past him, Vagabond Shoes, is quite smart. He had a nice enough run in transit, and it was good to see him really running out the 2,000 metre trip, and because up until that he'd had quite a bit of success running over a mile. He was a former French horse, now racing out of America for Daryl Vienna, and of course David Flores, who has ridden the horse before, will partner him here in Singapore. So he's another of these 4-year-olds. He's a colt, and he ran particularly well, didn't he, last time over the 2,000 metres in the replay we saw.
Just having a look at his track work earlier on in the week, Edward, he was a bit coltish, a bit keen earlier on, but the fast work he did on the turf was really good, I thought.
The fast work looked really good on the turf, and the other thing, Craig, we saw him do a bit of pace work on Thursday morning, and it's as if that the fast work that he did just has got him settled a little bit better in his work. So I think he'll be cherry ripe come Sunday.
I thought he was one of the better lookers too in the coat. Obviously he was the first to arrive, so he's been here almost 2 weeks, but he looked really good at the track work under the lights.
Which I think is a smart move from them to bring him here, because you've got a horse like Medici Man who's acclimatised well, but he's only had the week to acclimatise, and you even saw how badly he sweated up on Monday or Tuesday morning. He's looked a lot better come Thursday. They've just given this horse, considering that I think it was overall a 40-hour trip, including your transits and whatever for him, to give him that extra week to settle in, I think will also help him.
It's a long way, and it's a little while ago since the Japanese won this race, but they dominated in 06 and 07 with Cosmo Bolt and also Shadowgate. Tokay Halo is the Japanese runner this year, and from what we've seen off the tapes, he's the speed in the race by the looks of it.
Yeah, he went forward in that, what was it, the Hong Kong Cup. Back in late last year, and he blazed the trail, and as I said before, I think a lot of the plans, the tactics are all revolving around this horse dashing forward in that manner, and I think he probably will.
So that's his pace work from Wednesday morning, and he did have a gallop on Thursday morning as well. Terrific effort here. He finished second to Akid Mafid, who just got out in time, but Akid Mafid's obviously a very good horse. He beat horses like Cirrus Dezagle in the replay, Craig, and even his recent run on the Dubai Duty Free I thought was pretty good.
He went a little bit too hard, I think, in the Dubai Duty Free, and in the end he started reasonably good in the late stages. He's the polar opposite to Seasage. He only arrived on Tuesday, Tokay Halo, but we know the Japanese, they do things a little bit differently to trainers in other parts of the world, but generally when they bring a horse out of their country, they go very well.
Yeah, they do, and that form, that Hong Kong form, and it's going to stack up. You know, I had a look at him on Wednesday morning, and even though he'd only been off the plane for 24 hours, he still had a reasonable hit out, and he's since followed that up. So very interesting runner, and he's going to be in front a lot of the way here. Let's
talk about some of the local horses. Johnny Guitar, very smart horse, and a horse that still has a bit of upside, you would think.
Yeah. That's the thing about him. He's still going in the right direction. It was funny, they weren't really sure whether they were going to go, which way they were going to go with him, but as it turns out, he's going to go up to the staying trip in the SIA Cup. Brings good Group 1 form from Argentina, of course.
He does indeed, and I thought his run in the QE2 Cup was terrific, because he settled midfield. There wasn't a great deal of pace on, and for a horse going from 1200 to 2000, the way he performed there, he hit the line as strongly as he did, I thought was an eye-catching run from him.
Yep.
What about City Lad? Is he just outclassed in this?
Well, there's going to be, one of the locals has to stand up and do something. I mean, it might be a closing fourth. I'm not sure who it's going to be. City Lad, he looks outclassed. He has run some terrific races though. He ran a placing in the Kranji Mile, and he's continued to run well. Last time he was closing in, and that earned him an invitation, which they gleefully accepted. Yeah, he's going along very well, isn't he, at the moment? Wild Geese is in great form as well. He won the QE2 Cup. He's trained by Steve Burridge.
Great barrier draw for Wild Geese, Stephen.
Yeah, you know, something you really look forward to. You know, he's getting a good barrier, and the horse has done this in barrier 2, and he's come through the race the other day great, and he's trained on well, and expecting him to run a really good race.
You get a nice quiet run there, won't he?
He should have the box seat, or you would think, from that barrier, and Harry should have no problems be able to sort of put him in the right position and have a good run throughout.
The negative I found with Wild Geese was the 2,000 metres, a genuine hard run 2,000 metres. He just got a beautiful ride from Harry on this occasion. Which is probably why he needed a good barrier draw.
and he got it. So he'll just put him to sleep. No chance of leading, I don't think, on this occasion. So anyway, how's he going, Edward, in his track work?
This is the sort of work that he does. Mick Lockett riding him in the track work there. I think his track work has continued to be okay, Matt, but he's also had a recent barrier trial too since that performance that we saw in the QE2 Cup. And from the looks of things, I think you called the trial, Matt, but he looked to have a fairly quiet time in that trial.
Yeah, but Mick Lockett rides him in his trials and he never does a lot on him. You wouldn't ever tip him off one of his trials. He tends to do his best work late on and even after the line on occasion. So they just got him ticking over, clearly going very well, Wild Geese. And the barrier draw just gives him a glimmer of hope maybe of sneaking into the top 4.
I think Stephen Burridge referred to him as Sir Michael Lockett during the week. He said, if Sir Michael's happy, then I'm happy.
Yes, Sir Michael Lockett. Exactly.
I tell you what, if this wins, they will officially knight him, I think. Or certainly in the camp they will.
Sort of power, but
well, yeah, maybe not.
Well, Steve Burridge knows the Queen. He got a trophy presented to
Good
him
friends.
from her, so
Very
you know
good
he's
friends.
got the contacts, Craig.
We saw Trapeus in that. I was just wondering if they go super hard, because the way we saw him finish in the Gold Cup, is he any sort of chance, Trapeus?
well, not on current form. He won the Gold Cup off a lightweight when his stablemate had to sit 3 wide with a heavyweight, and arguably could have won, but it doesn't seem to be going well enough. The only upside I can see, Craig, is that the barrier draw, the hamster,
Yes.
picked him out.
Yes, the hamster. That's a story for another day, but he picked out that. And what, I think he went for lucky 9 in the sprint, didn't he?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, he got a last year, the hamster.
The
so
year
hopefully he doesn't-
before, the parrot tipped a horse that got scratched at the gates.
That's him, yeah, the parrot. And the parrot has not been seen since. Let's have a look at selections here for the Singapore Airlines International Cup. We all agree here, Military Attack is the horse to beat. Side Glance for second, Dan Excel and Johnny Guitar for me.
I'm going to go with Military Attack to beat Tokay Halo, Dan Excel and Side Glance. 1-3-2-5.
I'll go for Military Attack to beat Smoking Sun, Tokay Halo and Side Glance.
Larry Foley from CrunchyRacing.com has been at track work all week, and he's picked out Military Attack to win from Tokay Halo, Side Glance and Smoking Sun. Tantian Loon's been up bright and early as well. I've seen him at the track from the new paper. Military Attack, Sea Sage, Lamario and Smoking Sun. So they're all the selections for the Singapore Airlines International Cup and also the Chris Flyer. I think we've covered it fairly well there with the interviews from the barrier draw and all the replays and track work during the week. So hopefully we've educated some punters to go in the right direction there on Sunday.
Well, we've all tipped, including Tantian Loon and Larry Foley, all going with the same horse. It's funny, isn't it? Joe Maria rode so well here. He rode 700 or 800 winners in Singapore, and he's going to go across to Hong Kong, and he's going to be on the favourite in the Singapore International Cup as a result. But
do you reckon the Cranji masses will be cheering for him, or is he an outsider these days?
No, he's one of us.
He is.
Yeah. So,
we made him, didn't we?
Well, I'm not sure.
We nicknamed him.
I did nickname him, yeah, and he rode 8 when we were there, so he's ours.
He's ours.
Good luck to everyone. Great international horses, great international jockeys, owners and trainers here for the weekend. We wish them all the very best of luck on Sunday. Thanks for your company. We'll catch you at the track.
Bye-bye.
Bye.